This purple guy's a trapezoid, right? He's got one pair of parallel lines. So trapezoids have one pair of parallel sides, right? All of these pink ones over here are parallelograms. They've got two pairs of parallel sides. So what I want you to do is on your pear deck, on the slide that you can draw on, I want you to draw all of those. And I know it's a lot. I promise you, I know it's a lot. All parallelograms have two pairs of parallel sides. So I ask again, true or false, can a shape be both a trapezoid with only one pair of parallel lines and a parallelogram with two pairs of parallel lines? True or false? What do you guys think? You can put it in the chat. If a trapezoid can only have one pair of parallel lines, and a parallelogram has to have two parallel lines, two pairs of parallel lines, can a shape be both a trapezoid and a parallelogram at the same time?
No.
No, it cannot. Okay, so that's one of the big misconceptions about quadrilaterals. Can't be a parallelogram and a trapezoid at the same time. They're two different families, all quadrilaterals, but they don't really like each other. It's like West Side Story or LA, the Bloods and the Crips. Okay. So what about slide 4? If a shape has a right angle, then the diagonals are congruent. So if we go to slide 5, so you can write on it, if a shape has right angles, then the diagonals are congruent. Which two shapes have right angles? Absolutely, the rectangle and the square. So let's draw those little right angle marks in there on the rectangle and the square. And then let's draw in the diagonals and see if the diagonals are congruent. So you can use your line tool so it makes it nice and straight. Are the diagonals congruent? Yes, they are. So you want to mark all of those things on your pear deck. So you have these as notes. Okay. If I have right angles, then my diagonals are congruent. Squares and rectangles have congruent diagonals. Once they've been kind of run over by a truck and they don't have right angles anymore, then the diagonals aren't congruent. One diagonal has gotten short and the other diagonal has gotten long. So the diagonals are only congruent when we have right angles. Have you guys had enough time to draw those? I can't watch your pear decks and draw on mine at the same time. So let's go down to slide 7 and look at that true and false. If a shape has equal sides, so which shapes have equal sides?
Square.
For sure, square. And there's one other shape that has all 4 sides that are equal. The rhombus, for sure. You guys are on it this morning. So we got a square and a rhombus. Then the diagonals are perpendicular. So then we can go in with our drawing tool and draw in our diagonals. And that is 100% true. If the sides are equal, then the diagonals form right angles, because perpendicular means right angles. We all good? Do you need more time? Okay, because I really do want you guys to make all these marks on your pear deck. That's the whole point of the pear decks. If a shape has equal sides, okay, so we just did that in the last one, equal sides. We're still talking about the square and the rhombus, right? So mark those, square and the rhombus. I'm going to run out. Here we go. Then its diagonals bisect opposite angles. And this is what I messed up on Friday. So I want to make sure this is super clear. If I have equal sides, then the diagonals bisect opposite angles. So if we put in these diagonals, then these two angles have been bisected. You can put little dots there, and those two angles have been bisected. They're all congruent. And then these angles have been bisected. And you can put in little angles there. So let me zoom in on that so you can really, oh, you know what? If I zoom, then my dots are going to move. So those diagonals in the rhombus and the square bisect the angles. So if this green one is 30, then all the other green ones are 30. And if this blue one is 60, then all the other blue ones are 60. That doesn't happen in the parallelogram and the rectangle or the trapezoids. But it does happen in the square. So if these are all bisected, then if they were right to begin with, they're now all 45 degrees, correct? So all of those bisected angles are going to equal 45 degrees in a square. This is a pretty heavy way to wake up on a Tuesday morning at 7:38. How we doing, guys? The reason I want you to have the notes is because I know this time of day we're not absorbing everything, right? I think we got one more. We ready to go down to slide 11? In the absence of any no's, I'm going to move to slide 11. Which quadrilaterals have diagonals that bisect opposite angles? So that's what we just did, right? The square has diagonals that bisect opposite angles. And the rhombus have diagonals that bisect opposite angles. But what I want to do is mark the parallelogram angles. So go to the parallelogram. And if I make one diagonal, I can make that Z, right? So the crook of the Z, those are congruent. And then I can make the Z backwards and do the opposite diagonal. And these are congruent. I'm not drawing my diagonals very well. But I can also draw that Z with the diagonals from the short sides. So I can draw that diagonal. And then those purple angles are congruent. And then there's one more set of angles. If I go that long diagonal this way, then those angles are congruent. They're not the same like in the parallelogram, or like in the rhombus, right? But I can do those alternate interior angles. Same thing in the rectangle. So I know I've given you a lot. I want you to try to draw the rectangle by yourself. And I'm going to stop sharing. I want you to draw the diagonals. In that slide 11. For the rectangle. So in slide 11, I want you to draw the rectangle, diagonals, and then mark all the angles that are congruent. So kind of imagine those Z's and just put a dot where the angles are congruent. So like upper left and lower right. You can definitely do the vertical angles in the center. It's going to look like confetti when you're done. Make sure you're drawing the diagonals. Yep. And I know it's a lot, guys. I get it. I swear I do. Nice. You should have a lot of dots. Nice. It gets pretty cluttered pretty fast. Nice. Some things we just need paper for. The digital tools are not good enough. All right, I'm going to share my screen again. I think I want this one. So this is my pear deck. And if I draw on top of it, what I asked you to do was draw these diagonals. Lots of people did the vertical angles. So those two pink vertical angles are the same. And those two purple vertical angles are the same. This angle and this angle are the same. And it's actually also the same as these because we've got an isosceles triangle here. So if my diagonals are the same, then these angles are going to be the same. And then I can do these guys. Those are different from the other light green ones. Right? So there's one set of purple angles, one set of pink angles, two sets of kind of bright green angles, and two sets of seafoam green angles. I thought I was trying to get a yellow. Okay. Questions on any of that? I know that was a heavy way to start a day. If I switch over to Schoology, can you still see my screen? Yeah? Okay. I want to talk about the SOL for a minute. So if you are a 9th grader, you're going to be asked this year to take the geometry SOL. Okay, so let me let that sink in for a minute. If you're a 9th grader, you're going to be asked to take the geometry SOL. If you are a 10th grader, you have already taken algebra in high school, and because you're in this class, you've already passed it. So 10th graders, you're off the hook for the geometry SOL, but you want to stay tuned in to hear about all of the other SOLs. If you go to our homepage, you can click on this link to go to the SOL calendar. I'm not going to go to that link. I'm going to go to this information link because the calendar is also in that. So if you want to make your own copy so you can look at it, it's here. Just got to take a second to load. And we're going to go up to the top. This is our new calendar. So the first math SOL is going to be on the 22nd. So anybody who has to take a math SOL and is an option 1 student. So my option 1 students were the students that I saw face-to-face on Thursdays and Fridays. Okay, so your last names are L through Z, and you came to school for a handful of days way back in October. Okay, your SOL day is the 22nd for math, for geometry. So if you're a 9th grader and you came to school in October and your last name is L through Z, your test day is the 22nd. If you are an option 2 student and you've never come to school this year, your SOL for geometry, if you're a 9th grader, is on the 25th. That's also the day for the science SOL. So if you have geometry and you have one of these sciences, stand by because I need to give you some more information, okay? If your last name is A through K, you're the beginning of the alphabet, and you came to school for a handful of days back in October, your SOL day is the 27th, okay? Any of these SOLs, you're going to be coming to the school building to take them. Any questions on the dates? And I'm giving you the whole calendar. All of your teachers hopefully will give you the whole calendar so you can see if you've got other classes what the schedule is. Okay, so basically this just says that option 1 students, option 1 students, and option 2 students. Okay, the dates are going to remain the same whether we're in school or not in school. Depending on the COVID numbers, they're not going to change. If option 2 students have a conflict, like you have chemistry and geometry on the same day or earth science and geometry on the same day, you need to contact Mr. Midget. He's a super nice guy and he'll help you deconflict that, okay? A questionnaire is going to be sent out via Alert Now. It's supposed to go out sometime today. So I'll remind you about this tomorrow. Everybody needs to complete that. If you are in an SOL class, you need to take that. You need to complete that. So you might not be taking geometry, but maybe you're taking World 1 or World 2 or VAUS or biology or I don't know. Part of that questionnaire is for transportation. If you do not fill out the questionnaire by Sunday, then transportation will not be guaranteed. Any questions on transportation or the testing calendar? I know this is a heavy way to start a Tuesday. Okay. Frequently asked questions. I'm going to just let you read this for a minute. So when do you have to have the questionnaire done by? December 20th. That's Sunday. Anybody in this term enrolled in an SOL class is who needs to do that. Ask your teacher. So for me, it's all the 9th graders. If you are a 9th grader, you're going to be asked to sit for the geometry SOL. If you're a 10th grader, you do not have to sit for it. Okay. Transportation is going to be sent to you after Sunday, the 20th. It probably won't come out until January, to be honest, because transportation is going to need some time to process all the information from the questionnaires. There's one more set of slides with frequently asked questions. So I'm going to let you read this, and then I have a summary for you because I didn't think this slide made any sense. Good morning, Michael. We're talking about SOL stuff. And after I finish talking about the next slide, I'll go back and show you where you can find this information, okay? All right. This was a whole lot of words that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I broke it down in what I hope is a little more easily readable way, okay? If you need to take an SOL this year, and this applies to all the SOLs this term for January, not just the geometry one, you have three options basically. If you feel comfortable coming into school, the best option is to come take the test on the day that it's offered, okay? The material will be freshest in your brain, and you need a 400 to pass, just like always. But like last year, they gave everybody a locally verified credit. LVAC just means locally verified credit, okay? So if you get a 350 to a 399, you will not be asked to retake the test like in past years. You'll just get that locally verified credit. It doesn't count as a pass. Still, in order to get that pass, you need a 400, but you will get that locally verified credit. So again, if you feel comfortable, if you're a ninth grader and you feel comfortable coming into school, the best option is to come in during your test date that's on the calendar and take the test on that day because the material is going to be freshest in your head. If you don't feel comfortable coming into the school in January, you do not have to. Do not feel pressured to do that. Like have a conversation, a serious conversation with your family and your parents, okay? Option B is to postpone the test. So if you decide to postpone the test and not take the test in January, you can take that same test in May in the spring or in June or July in the summer, depending on when you feel comfortable taking the test. The same metrics apply. A pass is a 400, just like always, but a 350 to a 399 will get you that locally verified credit. That's that credit that you sat and took the test in high school for your diploma, okay? Option C, and this is a brand new option, this has never been offered before, is you can defer the test. So for instance, we're in geometry right now. Next year, you'll take Algebra 2, hopefully Algebra 2 Trig. Algebra 2 has an SOL. You can say, I don't feel comfortable coming into school in the year 2021 to take an SOL. I'm going to not take my geometry test, and I'm going to take the Algebra 2 instead. That's what it would look like in math. In social studies, it would look like I'm in VAUS now, or I'm in World 1 now, and next year, because I don't feel comfortable coming in face-to-face to take an SOL in the year 2021, I'm going to take my World 2, or I don't know what the other options are in history, next year as a junior or as a sophomore, whatever your next grade level is. The only tests that you cannot defer, absolutely unequivocally cannot defer, are English 11, which doesn't count for any of you, or biology. Your biology test, you have to either take it this year or postpone it and take it later this year. Those are your only options for biology. Are there any questions about these three options? Hopefully you hear this again every block today, and it will make perfect sense by the end of the day. So my chat closed. I see somebody put it up, put something in the chat. So let me see if I can find that. There we go. No, everybody in geometry this year, everybody in this class should be taking Algebra 2 next year. If you take the geometry SOL this year, you do not need to take the Algebra 2 SOL next year. Like the Algebra 2 teachers this year have very, very few students. Basically, only their ninth graders are taking the SOL. Once you take one math SOL in high school, you don't have to take any more. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, one more question.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to actually take it like at home.
You may not take it at home. You have to take the SOLs face-to-face at school.
Okay.
So that's why we've got the three options. Option 1 or option A is the best option if you feel comfortable coming into school. If you don't feel comfortable coming into school, don't do this. Okay? You can do option B, postpone the test. And this is all in a survey, Michael. So I'll go backwards up the slides and kind of let you know what that is. You're going to take a survey, right? In that survey, it's going to ask you what you want to do. Do you want to take the test in January? Do you want to take the test in the spring in May, or in the summer, June or July? Or do you want to defer the test and take the Algebra 2 tests next year for math? Okay. All of these options are valid. There's no right, wrong, or better. And so if we go back up the slides, you can see frequently asked questions. So this is linked in the banner at the top of our page, so you can read it and share it with your parents and have a discussion about it, because there should be some discussion around this. There's an alert now that'll come out later tonight or tomorrow. It's scheduled to come out tonight, but stuff happens. You're going to complete the questionnaire. On that questionnaire, it's going to ask you questions about transportation, if you need bus transportation to the school, and which of those 3 options you want to do, whether you want to take the test in January, take the test in the spring or the summer, or just defer and take the next test. This is the schedule. So A through K students that were option 1, L through Z option 1 students, or all of the option 2 students. If you're scheduled because you're option 2 for 2 tests on the same day, you need to contact Mr. Midget. Okay, so this is a link to his email. The calendar is right here. So take a minute and think about your schedule and see what tests you would need to take. All of my A through K option 1 students that were in the building in October are going to test on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. All of my option 1 students that were in the building in October that have last names L through Z are going to test on Thursdays and Fridays. These 2 test days are 11th graders only, so you don't have to worry about that. And then option 2 students that never came into the building this year are going to test on these 2 Mondays. There will be bus transportation to bring you to school, but you have to fill out that questionnaire and let the school know that you need transportation. If that questionnaire is not filled out by Sunday, then there's not going to be guaranteed transportation.
Okay. So is this the only time? Sorry, is this the only time we're going to come back to school?
As of right now, yes. They didn't update the COVID numbers over the weekend, so I don't know what they did over the weekend. I know the state got like 11,000 vaccinations, so hopefully vaccinations start, and as soon as that rolls out to be a significant number, hopefully we can come back to school pretty quickly after that. I just don't know. Yeah. That's linked right here. So if later today you want to look for it, if your parents ask about it, if they ask about the questionnaire and you want to show them the slides, it's linked right here. The calendar by itself is the top link, and that whole 7 slides is the second link. Okay. Questions about that? Okay. You guys did so much work yesterday. I'm so proud. Lots of people improved their grades by a full letter grade, which was fantastic. Because the SOLs have been pushed back into the 20s, that's like freed us up so we don't have to stress out and test super fast. I feel like we need a whole lot more practice with all of these quadrilateral things. So that's what we're going to do today. The test, I think, is going to be Thursday. So we'll review today with IXLs and the GIM kit. So if you've already done both of those things, I'm going to give you a different thing to do to get a jump start on the next unit. And then we'll do the learning targets tomorrow. So what I'd like to do is do the GIM kit and the IXLs today in class with me. So if you have questions, we can talk about them. Start on the learning targets if you have not done so already. So I think only one person has done most of them. Try to do as many of these as you can today and tonight so that we can talk about them tomorrow and you're already familiar with them and you know what you know and know what you don't know. Okay? So these are open until the 16th. They close tomorrow night, and then we'll have the test on Thursday. Okay? What I'd like to do now is just play this GIM kit. It was homework, so some of you have already done it, but I'd like to play it. So let me open this up. Trust no one. Oh. Do we want to play that? We want to play One Time Classic and then we'll play the Trust No One? What do you guys think? Looking for some feedback. Yeah? All right. We'll play one game Classic and then one game Trust No One. We'll start with $50. I think that's good. Let's play for 8 minutes. I think that's good. And yeah. There's the code. I'm going to continue sharing my screen until everybody's in, and then I'll stop sharing my screen so you have your whole screen. No pressure. Put the link in the chat too. I wonder what remote communication does. So you're going to go to gimkit.com/live and enter that code. I know you guys know how to do this. Thanks, Joseph. Uh-oh.
We don't have to, we already did it, right?
No, I would like you to do it again, even if you already did it. Did I mess it up? I feel like I messed it up. I don't know how that happened. I need to give you a new game code. I'm sorry. But yeah, even if you've already done it, I want you to play again. Because I know there's like 6 of you that already did it. I need at least 12 players. Come on, everybody. I feel like a lot of people walked away, went back to sleep. If you're asleep, wake up. We need a gim kit. Let's play. All right, we'll play with us 9. Oh, there we go. This is especially important if you have not done it yet, the gim kit. But even if you did, I would love it if you would play. All right, we're going to start the game. What? Okay. I bet we can get $10,000, everybody.